Last time we covered the best picks of rounds 1 through 5 of fantasy football drafts. Today, we're doing the reverse, the opposite. I'm going to be telling you the worst. I guess the riskiest is the better way to put it in rounds 1 through 5 this year. And like I mentioned in the last video, it was tough to find just one player, I guess, a bad pick in each and every round because there's, rounds 1 through 5 are filled with so many great players. But I did my best to break down who I think has some risk to their profile or who might just be a little bit overpriced and who I think you should be trying to avoid at their current ADP. So we'll start with round 1. My least favorite pick in round 1 this year is going to be Jonathan Taylor. Yes, I get it. I'm a Texans fan. My Colts bias is coming out once again, but truly doesn't have anything to do with that. It has nothing to do with the player. He is one of the best real-life running backs in the NFL. I think anybody would be silly not to admit that, but I don't love the run out this year. And I won't be long on this one because I have been pretty vocal about how I am not loving what the Colts, have been cooking so far this offseason. Outside of Josh Downs, I believe that's the only person I am ahead on ADP at the moment. I've come around a little bit on Tyler Warren, but Jonathan Taylor is a guy I'm a little bit lower on. Alec Pierce, of course, banged up. We don't know what's going on with him. They just signed Keenan Allen. It's a little bit crazy right now with the Colts at the moment, but Josh Downs is really the only guy I'm ahead of ADP on. Jonathan Taylor, I have all the way down at 11 in my rankings, and he consistently goes at pick 7 on most sites. And to me, I don't think that's insane, but I do think it's a little bit of a, not risk, but I just think that we should be shooting for a little bit more upside at that spot. At such a premium pick in fantasy drafts, I think he has a little bit lower of a ceiling than a lot of people think compared to last season. There's just no way that I'm passing on James Cook, who I have ahead of him. CeeDee Lamb, Justin Jefferson, I think can return to form and just be phenomenal smash picks and be, just way better than Jonathan Taylor this year. I want both of them over JT, and I'm for damn sure not ever taking Christian McCaffrey or Amon-Ra St. Brown over, or I guess I should say I'm taking both of them over Jonathan Taylor every time. There's just no way I'm taking JT over him. I realize a lot of the time that JT goes after those guys, but yeah, I just think it's crazy that people are even considering him over those players. And before I go any further, I once again want to acknowledge Jonathan Taylor as a talent, top 35 running back in the NFL. He was awesome last year in fantasy. He carried a lot of people, including me, through my first 10 games of the year, but things have definitely changed since Daniel Jones went down with that Achilles tear last season. When Jones went down, we saw Taylor significantly dip in fantasy output and overall efficiency, and it was reported that yes, Jones will be back for week 1, but how healthy will that be? How long does it take for him to get comfortable, to get his feet back underneath him? I really don't know the answer to that question right now. I don't love the prior history of quarterbacks coming off of torn Achilles, and I have some questions, and I'm not so sure that we see the same Daniel Jones that we saw last year. He is one of, if not, I've said this before, the most consistently inconsistent quarterback in the NFL and has never been the same guy year to year. And so why should I believe that's going to change? He's going to be the same guy the second year in a row coming off a ruptured Achilles. I don't love it. I hate all of that. Just the sound of it does not make me feel good about clicking Jonathan Taylor at the 7th overall pick. I think it's going to affect Jonathan Taylor a lot more than people think. I think it's going to significantly affect his fantasy ceiling. Of course, we know Alec Pierce is banged up. He's going to miss a lot of the season. Defenses aren't going to be as scared of, a guy like Alec Pierce beating them deep when he's not out there. I don't think Jonathan Taylor is necessarily a bad pick, but I want to be shooting more for upside. I'm going to be shooting for guys that I think can finish number 1 overall at their position, like James Cook, Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, of course, guys who have done it before. Again, I'm going to get some probably hate for this. I'm getting a lot of crap for fading Jonathan Taylor this year, but, we all have to take stances every once in a while. I think he's the weakest round 1 pick, and I just don't want to be playing scared this year. If I'm going to be fading Jonathan Taylor, that's fine. I'm just going to live with it. Consider me a hater. That's fine. I don't like the Colts. I love Jonathan Taylor, though. I think he's a great player. I just don't love his price at his current ADP this year, and I'm okay of his odds of proving me wrong. So, okay. Second round here, a guy that it pains me to do this. Devon Achane, my sweet king, is my least favorite pick in round 2. I'm sorry to have to put you on this list this year, but like Jonathan Taylor, it has nothing to do with the player, everything to do with the situation at hand. The Dolphins are projected to have the worst offense in the NFL for 2026. It's not even close. I'm just very worried about the various strengths in his profile that we all know that Devon Achane has, taking a big hit this year with the Dolphins' current setup. For one, maybe the most overused reason, though, I think that people are fading Achane is maybe the wrong one, and it's the absence of Mike McDaniel. I do think that it's going to affect the Dolphins' offense. I think it's probably going to affect Achane a little bit. He is no longer calling plays for that offense. I think incredibly high on Mike McDaniel. I really, really do. But I really don't think, though, that a lot of people think that Devon Achane was a product of McDaniel's system. I do not think that. I think Devon Achane is one of the elite talents at the running back position in the entire league. Two things can be true though. Achane might not be a product of McDaniel's system, but it would be silly for me to say that this offense won't be hurt as a whole. Play callers matter so much, and the change from McDaniel's to new offensive coordinator Bobby Slowick, Texans fans, cover your ears. It matters a darn good amount. We have seen Slowick in action before. He was with the Texans during CJ Stroud's first 2 years in the NFL, and there was a lot of mixed results. I mean, I have a lot of bad memories of him from his latest tenure there, but I think he was decent overall. But I think that cast in Houston was a lot better than what Miami has, is working with currently. Putting play callers aside, just speaking about that cast outside of the Devon Achane, you have a first-year quarterback in Malik Willis, who we've seen 3 starts from in the NFL. Not great. An even bigger red flag is the Dolphins' best wide receivers. Best weapons include Malik Washington and Caleb Douglas currently. Those are the 2 big guys. And then you got Greg Dulcich at tight end. Not good. That's as bad as it gets. I have not seen an offensive unit this bad in a very, very, very long time. It's maybe the worst offense I've seen, probably of all time, since I've been following fantasy football closely, just watching football in general. Literally zero attention is going to be taken off Achane, and that's what scares me the most. He could catch a lot of passes, maybe, but defenses will be playing around one single player, Devon Achane. That's it. That means stacked boxes, all eyes on him, just stopping him at all times. I don't know if it's going to stop the Dolphins from force feeding him, but yeah, I can't think of a worse offense that I've seen to start the season over the past couple of years than what the Dolphins team is about to run out at the start of 2026. I have Achane all the way down at 17 in my rankings, basically that end tier of running backs that goes, which is basically a Marion Hampton, Saquon Barkley, Chase Brown, and I have him one spot ahead of Brock Bowers, a couple spots ahead of Derrick Henry, who I'm kind of using every excuse in the book of to keep from putting them ahead of him. It's a little bit difficult for me to completely fade Achane where he's at right now, but I do think in terms of round 2 value, he is probably my least favorite pick. He's the guy I click the least. A lot of people either love him or hate him this year. A lot of sites though, this is what worries me the most. You see him go in round 1. I think that price is completely ridiculous. I just can't get there, and I'm just trying to be as respectful as possible. One of the best young running back talents in the league. I would just much rather take Saquon, Genty, Chase Brown, Kenneth Walker, Marion Hampton. I just want all of them over Devon Achane. I don't want that risk on my team. I think the ceiling is a little bit capped too. I don't know if he can get there like he did last year. As bad as last year was, I just think it could be significantly worse this year. Malik Willis is not going to check the ball down as much. I am definitely more worried about fading Achane than I am Jonathan Taylor. There's a world where, like I mentioned, he catches 80 passes. He is once again a top 5 running back in fantasy, which scares me a little bit. It makes me it would definitely make me regret every word I'm saying right now. But like I said with JT, sooner or later, you got to believe in something. You got to believe in your process. And I'm just going to be on the side of fading Achane for the most part. And it makes me nervous, but that's completely fine. I'm fine with it. I'm going to live with this here. But based off where he goes right now, I just kind of have a hard time not doing that. He's way too expensive, especially when he goes in round 1. I think if you want to take him, he's a perfectly fine middle to the end of round 2 pick. I think he's perfectly fine in the middle of round 2, but round 1-2 turn, no way. I think there's so many better options, so many safer options, so many guys that can, I don't know, they're in better offenses, and I feel much better about their situation. So off of Devon Achane, Jonathan Taylor, love both of those players. And now let's get to some spicy takes in a range where I think it gets much easier to just straight up fade players at their current ADP, because of course you got rounds 1 and 2. A lot of really good players coming off the board. Round 3 gets a little bit easier, and especially so with my least favorite round 3 pick, and it's going to be Javonte Williams, who I am definitely fading at this current price. And let's get this out of the way. Javonte was great last year. He was a 15-point per game scorer. Top 12 at this position. Probably the biggest surprise in fantasy last season after I pretty much declared him dead. I thought Miles Sanders was going to be the starter last year. Heck no. I thought Jaden Blue was going to be, potentially, a guy who's going to succeed last year in that offense. Heck no. Javonte Williams shoved my face in the dirt. He was awesome. I am going to double down this year, but for a little bit of different reasons. I have talked a little bit while back about the low yards per route run for running backs, how it can be predictive when projecting, regression from season to season. Well, Javonte he had one of the worst we have seen in a while when it comes to, running back yards per route run from a previous season going to the next season. And I think he could possibly just be maybe not the next Chuba Hubbard, but pretty close to it. It could be Chuba Hubbard, but in a much better offense, which could be fine, but I think he's going to probably regress quite a bit. That's kind of where I'm just struggling with him living up to his current ADP. There's been a lot of Jaden Blue chatter. He's been pretty good throughout the preseason. I know there's a lot of fake chatter out there, but I think Jaden Blue, taking on more of a role as a receiver. I just think that it could just take away from where Javonte actually struggled last season, and it was as a receiver. It's definitely up for debate for sure. I just don't love where he goes at the moment. He goes between like pick 31 and 36. That's like a premium range where you can get guys like Breece Hall, Kyron, Jeremiah Love, Lad McConkey, Devontae Smith, T. Higgins. Just so many great players, higher upside, enticing picks that you can take advantage at, other positions in your lineup. Even Breece Hall, Kyron, I think it's just straight up better players at better costs. The opportunity cost for Javonte this year is too high for me. I think he is 2 to 3 tiers ahead of where I think he should actually be going at the moment. And I think that's a little bit, I know a lot of people are high on Javonte, so maybe that's a little bit risky, but yeah, I think he's more in that Bucky Irving, ETN range of guys. Solid floor plays in like solid offenses, but just not a guy I'm scrambling for in the third round. Not bad picks at all, but definitely one I don't think is going to return the ADP that a lot of people think he's going to. Ultimately, I worry about Javonte's role as a receiver, how much of a step back he took in that area compared to what he's done throughout his entire career. Despite being incredibly efficient as a runner, I think he could take a step back in that and just have some aggression. I don't love it. Maybe Jaden Blue, mixes in quite a bit. There's been a lot of chatter about him. He's quite enticing, especially as a receiving back, and I think I could take some away from him. Just a volatile profile that, yeah, it's been taken in a premium spot in round 3 and one I don't really want to be touching with a 10-foot pole. So, yeah, don't love Javonte Williams at his pricing. He's like the first guy that I'm definitely fading completely. I don't feel bad at all about him compared to how I felt about Devon Achane and Jonathan Taylor. So, round 4, though, another running back. And I'm sorry, the 4th running back in a row here. Round 4, Travis Etienne. And I'm just kind of now realizing that, yeah, we haven't spoken about a single other position, but that is kind of the way the cookie has been crumbling this year, with running backs being pushed up so much farther than they ever have been. At least that's what it feels like to me. Everybody's just like scrambling for a running back if they don't have 2 through the first 4 rounds, 2 or 3 through the first 4 or 5 rounds. That's kind of, frankly, what I've been seeing a lot recently. Yeah, honestly though, with Travis Etienne, it's a little bit of a different conversation. I'd really struggle to find a bad pick in round 4. There are just so many good ones, and it's kind of like a flat area in my opinion. Like Lad falls into the 4th. It's not really Etienne's fault. Lad falls in there. Colson Loveland's great. Garrett Wilson, I'm fine with in the middle of the 4th round. Ted McMillan, same there. Luther Burden's like going in the 5th now, but the end of the 4th, I wouldn't mind people taking him. Terry McLaurin, Mike Evans, I'm very high on. There's a lot of guys I like taking over Travis Etienne, and not really about the player, but yeah, let's dig into Travis Etienne's profile though. Because Javonte Williams, he was great in 2025. Another player I was dead wrong about. He led the Jags backfield, completely burned me last year. Averaged 15 points per game. Was on, I believe he was hovering around the RB or like top 12 territory. And yeah, just completely wrong about Etienne. However, the environment he will be operating in is completely different than the one he was working with in Jacksonville last year. Just the complete polar opposite. Worse, I mean, as much as I like Kellen Moore, I think a worse play caller, definitely a worse quarterback, just worse offense overall. Saints, although I do have some hope for them, project to be like one of the worst or bottom of the league offenses in the NFL. I am not convinced on Tyler Shuck and his like Cinderella run that he had last season. Plus, the Saints are already dealing with a huge key piece on offense that is going to miss the next 2 months. Jordan Tyson will be out probably like the first, I would think, at least first 4 games of the year, maybe 6. Maybe potentially it's been talked about not even being back till week 9. Not great for an already pretty weak offense with not a lot of depth at it. And while I think that probably maybe helps the case for ATN, maybe he gets a little bit more work, a little bit more volume, I do worry about an already weaker offense suffering with injuries to such key pieces. I do, however, though, if you want to take Travis Etienne, I think he's fine. I'm just not a guy I'm super into. I trust Kellen Moore to kind of scheme things up, similar to what Liam Cohen did in Jacksonville, make life a little bit easier on him. I think recently when I had this pick, Alvin Kamara hadn't gone down with an injury. He went down with an injury. A lot of people maybe think he's dust. I don't know if he is. I think he can maybe play a little bit more of a role as a receiver. Alvin Kamara is like one of the best, running backs for the past 15, 20 years. So I think he could, if he's going to play, I think he's probably going to have a role. He's probably going to be as a receiver. So I worry about that for ETN when he eventually does return. Just kind of when it comes to ETN though, as well, I would just rather take my chances on some other running backs like Bucky, Bashal Tootin, Cam Scatterbo, DeAndre Swift, especially with the Kamananga injury that just came out. I just kind of view Etienne as more of a round 5 player, similar to like how I view Devontae or David Montgomery at the moment. I think he's in like a slightly worse offense. I think they can receive a lot of the same volume though. Yeah. But yeah, I would just much rather take chances at wide receiver, running back. Of course, the guys I just mentioned, Colson Loveland falls into that range. And at the end of the day, Travis Etienne is just not my flavor, and that's fine. But if you want to take him, fine. I would much rather wait until the end of round 4. Maybe you wait till the 4 or 5 turn. Maybe he comes back around to you. I think he's a fine pick at that price. But at the where he's currently going at the moment in the middle of the 4th, not my flavor. Much rather shoot for more higher upside picks in a offense that really isn't the Saints. So yeah, let's move on to round 5. Last up, we got DJ Moore. Round 5, probably the only player I would just recommend people to not touch with a 10-foot pole. My least favorite player out of everybody in this video. I really don't care if I get a lot of hate for this, but I just do not see it with DJ Moore this year. He just has been straight up not good, not a good player the last 2 seasons. He was absolutely horrendous last year in a Ben Johnson offense, ran the most routes by far of any Chicago Bears player. And what did he do with it? 682 yards on 50 catches, barely over 80 targets, 7 total touchdowns. He has regressed as a player over the last 2 seasons, and it wasn't just last year that was bad. It was the year before that. I know the counting numbers were better, but he was not good at all. 1.44 yards per out run in 2024. Followed it up last year with a 1.22 yards per out run. That's horrendous. We were taking DJ Moore last year in round 4. He was one of the worst picks in all of fantasy, and somehow people forget that we're once again clicking him in round 5 this year. It doesn't make any sense to me. And yeah, I understand that Josh Allen is his quarterback now, but I am just good. I really don't care at all. I love Josh Allen. I think he elevates players around him, but DJ Moore, the way he's been trending, I don't want to be in on him at this price. I feel like there are players for everyone every year that they're just for some reason or another just don't like at all. They just would not take, whether they're just hurt by them in the past, or they're just not, they just don't like him as a player. They just don't like him at his current ADP. Mine is DJ Moore this year. Have not really touched him at all, but I feel like I have some pretty good evidence and reason to do this. His profile is full of flaws, full of red flags, and this isn't the 2023 DJ Moore where he was phenomenal with Justin Fields, super, super efficient, great after the catch. We're talking about 2026 DJ Moore. That was 3 years ago. I am out, completely out. And I wish I could be as excited as some others about DJ Moore going over to Buffalo. It is honestly a pretty great run out, but call me a skeptic. I do think kind of the opposite. I think that Dalton Kincaid can expand his role. He is really, really good as long as he, is able to get, out there more often, run more routes. And Khalil Shakir, although he is a little bit limited, is a damn good wide receiver who commands a lot of targets. Regardless of what you want to say about him, he's a little bit of a PPR scam, but yeah. I mean, he command targets. He's been pretty good throughout his entire career, and I just think it takes away from DJ Moore. I don't know if he's that much better than Khalil Shakir. We already know this offense is going to be pretty run heavy. It runs through James Cook. I don't think it's going to change a lot. The offensive coordinator is the guy who became the head coach, so the philosophy on offense is unlikely to shift very much. However you feel about DJ Moore this year, I just caution you to be cautious. I know I just said that twice, but there are a handful of players in that range that I think can absolutely crush that you should be taking over DJ Moore. The biggest reason why I think you should be fading him is Rome Odunze, Parker Washington, who I've come around on recently, Carnell Tate, Mike Evans, Travion Henderson. There's a couple more that I'm missing. Jamison Williams, Lamar freaking Jackson goes in that range. At that price, I am not pulling the trigger. If he was going in the 70s, mid 70s, sure. I know that's a lot lower than a lot of people have him. I'm way behind ADP, but to me, at this price, he is the worst pick in round 5, and it isn't particularly close. I am completely fine with fading him. If he crushes me this year, fine. You know what? I'll live with it. He was completely regressed as a player in a good Ben Johnson offense last year, showed absolutely nothing. Just not convinced at this point in his career that he's going to return on this type of ADP. And yeah, I'm going to be continuing to fade him at this price. A once fantastic player. I'll agree with everybody. I love DJ Moore for a long time, and I think I'll probably continue to, just not at this price that just a lot of people can't let go of. Don't be fooled by DJ Moore. Jump on a different hype train like Parker Washington, someone like that who's more exciting. Carnell Tate, the 4th overall pick. I know he's on a bad Titans team, but just a lot more upside there, a lot more tantalizing, a lot more fun at the end of the day. And yeah, if you're passing on Lamar, if you're passing on DJ Moore, or you pass on Lamar Jackson for DJ Moore, excuse me, I think it's just absolutely crazy. It doesn't make any sort of sense to me. But yeah, that is going to conclude my riskiest, worst, however you want to put it, least favorite fantasy picks in rounds 1 through 5. Of course, Jonathan Taylor and Devon Achane, who we think are phenomenal talents, just overpriced. My least favorite picks. It's round 1 and 2. What are you gonna do? Round 3, don't love Javonte Williams at his price. Round 4, Travis Etienne's a little bit boring. Don't love him returning his ADP. And of course, DJ Moore, my least favorite player on this list. A guy I think you should be staying away from no matter what, regardless if he's playing with Josh Allen. But yeah, guys, tell me, what did I get wrong? What do you disagree with me on? Is there somebody that I missed? Somebody you guys are more avoiding than some of these guys I had on this list? Just kind of let me know below. I love to hear all the discourse. I want to hear everybody's opinion. And yeah, I just hope everybody's having a great summer so far. We're getting really, really close to the fantasy season. I'm getting really, really close to a lot of my home league drafts, and I'm excited to kind of help you guys get ready for it even more as the weeks go on. So yeah, I've been talking for a while, and I am going to get out of y'all's hair, but I hope everybody is having a fantastic week. And like always, I will see you guys next time. Peace.